Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. I am here tonight with Rachel from
Hello.
Lilywork. Her name is not Lily. I thought the same thing. So, thank you so much, Rachel, for joining me tonight. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you. I am excited to
Okay,
be here.
yay. So, it'll tell me, it won't tell me who's on here. So, if you are with us tonight, make sure to comment that you're here, say hi, let us know where you're joining us from. We would love to engage and interact and be here to answer the questions. Like that's half the fun. Ask the questions, but as you come up with questions, it's always helpful. So we will just dive right in. Rachel, why don't you just kind of tell us a little bit about you, how you got started in reselling, and just your backstory.
So, what I'm hearing is that you broadcast this to a lot of moms, right? This is Moms Who
Yeah.
Resell. And I
Yes. But we have
definitely
some guys
feel
on too that join us just for the
okay.
the tips. Yep, Christopher, he's with us
I
tonight. So
feel
yes, we
like
definitely
I
have a
feel like
mix.
I'm a reselling mom who has no time but still makes it work. So, my name is Rachel, aka Lilyworks Reseller on YouTube. I also just started a Facebook page. I have some links in my description of my videos. I just started it because I love selling jewelry. So I mostly sell jewelry. So if you guys are interested in jewelry, I know Jen was saying she's interested in learning more about jewelry. Why is that so great for moms or people with no time? Because it takes up hardly any space. You can source online. You can stay home. I was telling Jen that my husband has been working until like 9 o'clock, 4 days this week. And so, like, me getting out to source or go to yard sales or like watch YouTube videos of people sourcing, like, I can't do that. But
Mhm.
I still am making as much money as I was when I was a full-time special education teacher and I'm just
Wow.
homeschooling my kids at home. So I've been really getting into the jewelry niche, which is awesome. Also, like when you do go sourcing for jewelry, you can get a lot at once and it's like really, really easy to list. Um, so that's kind of like what we've been doing lately over at my channel. I have um, 4 children. I have one stepdaughter who just turned a teenager. I have a just
Mhm.
turned 5 year old, a 3 year old, and a 1 year old little boy. So yeah, we do Montessori homeschooling for our day gig, and then yeah, so that's kind of what we're up to.
I am not looking forward to those teenage years. You'll have to warn me because my 8-year-old is like 18 going on 15 and she's a girl already with all the emotions and I'm not looking forward to it. So good luck.
Yeah.
I am not looking forward to that. So, joy of thrifting. Yeah, she also loves going through jewelry jars. I am so excited to learn from you tonight and just kind of learn the little tips and tricks and which jars to go after. Are you looking just for gold or costume or I just want to pick your brain. So I'm really looking forward to this tonight. So, let's see what other question.
Oh, I see Hannah. Hey, Hannah.
We gotta go back and forth. Let's see. We've got Gretchen here. Patchwork, is that Hannah?
Mm-hmm.
Nice to meet you. You've got lots of people on tonight. All right. So, how are the kids and family involved in the business, if at all? The teenager, is she helping you?
No. And that's okay because I let her do her thing.
Yeah.
She is my stepdaughter, so that's like a thing where you can't like be the main like caregiver in that situation. Like, you need to help me, you need to do this. So it's more of like, would you like to like type of a situation. I've
Hmm.
just bought her like $200 worth of jewelry making supplies, and I'll like give her all of my
Oh.
like crafting jewelry that I'm not reselling. So she's
Hmm.
been kind of into that. And then other than that, I actually paid her for a while to share on Poshmark. I don't know if anybody is on Poshmark, and the joys of listing and then sharing over and over. So I would pay her to do that, and I think I did that a couple years ago. And then I realized you can get a Posher VA. to do it for you for cheaper than what I was
Right?
paying her
50
for.
cents an hour. Yep.
Yes. So, so that's about it. But as far as the little ones, they understand, I guess, reselling more because they are growing up with it. I
It's funny
started,
how much they pick up. Like even,
yes,
yeah, my now 3-year-old in his twos, he would come up and put his Hot Wheels up on my picture table. Like, okay, let me take pictures, Mom. Like he wasn't even talking in full sentence. So it was just picture, car, or whatever words he threw out. And it's funny how much they pick up so young just being around it.
yeah, I have so we bought this house about almost 2 years ago because of this workspace right next to a space in my basement that was supposed to be the playroom. But
Hmm.
of course, helping mama work is so much more interesting by far than,
Hmm.
and they're just like, can I help you clean? Can I help you organize? And then I'm like, yes. And like, so what I do is I have these like thank you stickers or washi tape or whatever, and I'll say, go decorate the packages
Oh, there you
or
go.
things like that. Otherwise, if it's my 5-year-old, she actually can help me find things now.
Oh,
So that's
perfect.
good. So I'll give her the phone with a picture. And then they go to the antique store with me or sourcing with me and help mama by pointing out things that they want. And
Okay.
then recently, they like I was getting jewelry, which I mostly do, and they were like obsessed with buttons. And I said, do you want to sell those buttons online? And they said, yes. So you guys, I have buttons that my kids want to sell. So we're gonna
Rachel
try on
was in the market for buttons.
we're gonna try on our first vintage button sale from my children. My 4-year-old picked
Oh,
out some,
funny.
and yeah, my 3-year-old picked out some buttons that they really liked, and I was like, that's fine because they're
No,
learning. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I want to get to that point of just knowing one specific niche like that. So the next question, it segues right into that. Your favorite niche obviously is jewelry. If you could do or another one you wish you knew more about, what would you say?
I think I kind of really love the jewelry, honestly. I actually have dabbled in hard goods as well. But I just felt like it just didn't work for my like streamlined life and space, like
Yeah.
with all the matched things. And I am have to be like with my time, I have to be organized.
Yeah.
Um, and with everything that's going on. So that's why I do niche down because I can get
Mm-hmm.
really good at one thing. And I was telling Jen before that I really niched into shoes and now I'm really niching into jewelry. And but if I could get into it, I think I would really like vintage glass. And I just really love antiques in general. And
Mm-hmm.
so it just I love watching other people's channel and like them picking up beautiful Murano glass and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
because that's something I'm drawn to, and that's what I really like about jewelry is because I get really excited about it. Men's like Clark's Oxfords I'm not super excited about, but most jewelry I'm pretty much like,
Those don't bring you joy? Come on.
no. I
Oh, that's
mean,
hilarious.
if it brings, I mean, it could. Some people.
Some people get excited about it.
Woohoo.
So how do you store your jewelry? So hard goods, I do banker boxes. Some people use IKEA bags. Like I've seen a lot of bigger storage, but jewelry, if you start throwing baggie on baggie in one big banker box, you're never going to find your item. So how do you organize your inventory?
Um, so I use
Kind of a loaded
Vendu.
question.
I use Vendu cross posting. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, cross posting. And they have in there, you can see your analytics and you can also put in an inventory note. So I do
Yeah.
have little tiny Sterilite or whatever boxes, and they're small. And so I
Okay.
have them labeled with the A, B, C. But then I also have like this drawer system that I got from an antique store, and it was probably for like storing hardware and stuff. And it has like 40
Oh,
drawers, 30, 40 drawers, and I have
that's
them labeled.
genius.
But
Like a little tool chest with all
yes,
the little mini drawers. That's
yes.
perfect.
And I have them labeled. I I think it's just always a work in progress because I right now I have almost 4,000 listings, and so you have to
Smokes.
keep revamping because all of a sudden,
Yep.
oh, all my clip-on earrings don't fit in this drawer anymore, and how can I separate this further? So I guess
Hmm.
it's a work in progress, but for the most part, it's working out pretty well. And then as far as shoes go, I have so many shoes still. I have all these racks from IKEA, like, and they all fit in this little space, and I have about 4,000
Perfect.
listings. So
That's awesome. Very resourceful with your space. I'm running out of space. I have just over 1,000, and the room that I have to use. So we don't have a basement in Arizona. I wish we did, but they don't exist. So we have to use the square footage that we have. We can't use the garage because pack rats and heat, so everything would melt. And so we have this one room that's 20 foot by 20 foot, and I have it arranged with a bunch of shelves, like just the 6 foot shelves and banker boxes, but I can't grow that room and I'm going to run out of space. So I need to start buying smaller items. That's where my brain is going. So then you can fit more on one shelf
oh,
when
yeah,
it's 1,000 things on one shelf versus 1,000 things for 12 shelves. So
that was
I'm so intrigued with how you do it and like buying those big jars. I see those jars all the time. So as
mhm,
I was telling you, Rachel, is that being in Southern Arizona, we have a lot of estate sales, a lot of retirees, a lot of senior living like that. They come to Southern Arizona because it's gorgeous year round. And either they live here full time or they're snowbirds and they come for 4 months out of the year. Either way, they have a lot of stuff. And I always at these thrift stores locally see those giant, almost like a lemonade jar. I don't know what you call them, but like big old mason
yeah.
jars full of
I think I have one around here.
jewelry.
Literally, I
So
just pulled out jewelry out of one. Yeah.
and they'll price it really reasonable, like $20 for this huge jar. And I'm like, it just overwhelms me because I wouldn't even know where to
You send
start.
them my way, I'll pay 20
I
bucks
know.
for a jewelry jar.
I just gotta like be able to pick and choose and learn what's good and what's junk. Like
Yeah.
that's the hard part.
No,
But
it's
it's
really
with
fun.
any niche because that's everyone's struggle with getting into reselling is how do you know what to buy? And
Right.
that's with hard goods, it's with shoes, it's with clothing, jewelry, it's every niche. So
Mhm.
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
So
it's
just
like
dive in.
especially with having children, like you can't sit there and Google Lens everything. So like
Right.
having a niche really helps where I can just and most things are behind the corner that are or sorry, behind the counter that are valuable at antique stores or even thrift stores. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to kind of know I want to open this up because
Right. Because you
this is
can't
what I
sit there and
see.
tell them one necklace at a time
Well,
and
yeah,
sit
and
there
like
and Google
you
Lens
have to
each
know,
one.
and then especially with all the children, like with all the
Yeah. Kids
children,
running
right?
around and
So,
yeah.
yeah, it's really, really helpful. And then while you were saying like small items, and getting into a niche, that reminded me that I did mention on one of my latest videos, I really want to start getting into ephemera, which is paper, like paper. You can do vintage maps, photography, all kinds of stuff. And who does that? The auction professor, he does so much ephemera, and like you might not get a lot of money, but you know you can store a lot in one area. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that sounds tempting because it's
There was a box of old some kind of old pictures. It was on like a thicker stock, a thicker card stock, and someone was like just looking through them and picking. He obviously knew what he was looking for because he cherry picked certain ones out, and I'm just kind of watching him like, what in the world does he see in these? Because they were like 10 cents a piece or something,
Mhm.
and so yeah, you're picking them up for cheap, but even if they're only $10 that they sell for, think of how easy it is to ship and
Yes.
store and pictures and yeah. There's
Yeah.
so many specific niches out there. Like I didn't know it was called femra.
Ephemera, yeah.
Ephemera. See, I don't
Yeah.
even know how to say it. Okay, I'm gonna have to
I
Google that
think I'm
after
saying it right.
this.
Correct me, you guys, if I'm saying it wrong. It's not my niche. So
Oh, how funny. Tackle boxes are good for jewelry storage. Sorry, just catching up here. Went on vacation a few days ago, bought 4 jars in Alabama. No idea what it was. Had a blast going through. At least 4 pieces are over $200. Wow. I've got to start grabbing these. I walk by them more times than I can count. I think there were even some on the counter today when I went and I walked right by it. So
I'm going to give away a little secret, jewelry secret.
yes.
So, I do a lot of sourcing on shopgoodwill.com. A lot of people start with the mystery blue boxes from
Okay.
from good. It's not shopgoodwill.com. It's like goodwillbluebox.com, I think. I think they're 40, 50, something like that. And you could get like crafting broken stuff, but you could also get good stuff. So it's like a mystery. With shopgoodwill.com, you can win an auction. So it definitely can go more than what a blue box cost, but you kind of can see ahead of time what you are buying. And you can also filter from what store you would like it to come from or what auction you would like to see. And I actually do buy a lot of sterling and Native American pieces from Arizona. And
Oh,
so I
goody.
actually just got, I think this was one of the pieces that came. I believe this is
Is that
Royston
just one piece or
turquoise.
is it a necklace?
This is a necklace.
Okay.
And then I also got like a green turquoise necklace and some sterling pieces. And that all came from Arizona, the Arizona Goodwill. And so then when you can click on the Arizona Goodwill so you can see all their auctions at once. And so if you win a few of the auctions from one site, you can actually get combined shipping, where some people are like,
Perfect.
I don't want to spend this much and then have shipping and handling on top. But the trick is you
Mm-hmm.
can like get it from
Stick to the same store.
one store and get a few different items and combine the shipping so that your cost of goods is lower. But to be honest, my cost of goods per jewelry piece is usually around $1 a piece anyways.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, it all evens out.
Okay, so pop quiz here. So if you pull out a jar of jewelry, what is the first thing that you're kind of eye spying? Are you looking for the turquoise, the gold, the sterling? Like, what's your first gravitation?
Vintage rhinestone. Definitely vintage
Rhinestone.
rhinestone. That is for sure, because costume jewelry can potentially be more expensive than fine jewelry. And a lot, because there is a collector's market for a lot of vintage costume jewelry, like Shriner brooches. You can sell them for like $1,000, and it's just a
Holy
brooch
smokes.
made out of like alloys and rhinestones. But it's the designer and the craftsmanship and the following and the collectability that can really wow people. And then besides that, if you have like a one of a kind piece, which is OOAK on listing on eBay, OOAK, one of a kind.
I need to write this down.
You can use that for like other things besides jewelry. But if you have like a one of a kind, like artisan piece, you can basically price it what you want. And that's what I particularly really like about vintage jewelry, is that there are collectors out there. Like shoes, there are some shoe collectors, but not really. So like when
Right.
you get a one of a kind jewelry piece and you sell it well with good keywords and pictures and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
you can get a good price for some things that you might not expect. So yeah, that's kind of what I look for.
Gosh. Do you have any of those rhinestone ones within grab of you to show?
Oh man, let's see. Nothing. I don't know. Hold on.
Okay. And while you're digging in that, we got a couple questions in here asking about your flawed jewelry. What do you do with, do you sell flawed jewelry? And
Yeah.
then do you do crafter lots on your broken jewelry?
Oh yes, absolutely. Okay, we have a lot of stuff going on. Okay, let me answer that first. So, wow, I'm washed out. Okay. Yes, I have crafters lots, and I would say a year ago, crafters lots used to sell a lot faster than me online. They don't sell that well anymore. You would probably have to not sell them. I used to be able to get like $50 for a box of like 8 pounds. Now I can't. So what I've been doing is I've been keeping a lot of it, and then I harvest some of the like hardware or rhinestones, because vintage rhinestones are harder to come by. And yeah, Hannah knows, because she actually fixes jewelry. She's much better at that than I am. But yeah, definitely keeping stuff like that for repairs is what I'm doing now, but you can even sell crafters lots on Whatnot if you just want to get rid of it, or online. And I don't just sell broken pieces in crafters lots. It's a lot of things where my cutoff is usually $7.99. So if I can't list a piece of jewelry for $7.99 or higher, it's usually going in the crafters lot. So someone can make jewelry. My stepdaughter can make jewelry, things like that. All right. So I just purchased a huge lot of jewelry from my neighbor, which was really a fluke because she posted in the neighborhood chat, does anyone want vintage jewelry to buy? And I was like, yes, I will buy it all.
Do not know me.
So I ended up buying all of her jewelry, and I told her I didn't really want to look at it too closely because I wanted to be a surprise for my viewers, but she had like this thing right on top. So this is kind of what I would look for, which might not look like anything to anybody else. But it's some things that just really are interesting to me. So this was kind of on top, and she's like, I don't know what that is.
Glass? Or is that plastic?
Not glass. I'm thinking that it is some kind of
like resin?
No, it's not. Okay. I don't even know, but this is something that speaks to me, and I know I can price this high. It has to be some kind of celluloid or lucite vintage thing, and then it has all these like little stamens, rhinestones. So like when I see something that I haven't seen, I'm like, what is that? I need
a pin?
That.
What's anything on the back of it?
Yep, it's a brooch. And so, and like it's a thing. So that one made me excited, which I don't think it would make a lot of people excited. And then so like I would just be like looking through. This is just like maybe a fifth of what she gave me. You would look through to see if any of the pieces have marks on it. That's what I would start off if I'm starting with vintage jewelry. Look to see if there's any maker's marks on your pieces, and that is something you can look up right away. The things that make me
what was that other number you were saying in one of your videos, the 636 or 363? What was that number?
There is a 585, which means gold. There's a yeah. Okay. So I think that's what it was. Yeah, different numbers mean different levels of gold or silver. So like there's 800, which is like a 800 part silver, like 80% of the metal is silver. So it kind of just tells you the percentage of what's in there.
Well, I'll see that on silverware as well, the 80-20 when it's on flatware. Looks like lucite. See, yeah, I know nothing about jewelry. I want to.
It's really light. It's really lightweight. So I'm thinking it's celluloid. Like so you can tell celluloid when it feels lighter than it should feel.
So interesting. Yeah, I might go back. There was a sale today, but he was doing the eBay prices. He had a Beatles game, a board game. And I'm like, oh, how much for the board games? Because I always try to like kind of dumb it down. Like, oh, these ugly board games, how much you want for those? And he's like, oh, that one on top, that's 150 on eBay. So I'm asking for 100. Like, good luck, dude. You're at a garage sale. But he also had a table of a bunch of old like brooches. So maybe I'll go back tomorrow and see if he's just as eBay crazy over those or if those he doesn't value. It's funny how some stuff they're like, oh, $1 a piece on CDs. There were some that were still sealed, but this board game I want $100 for.
Yeah.
People are crazy. All right. Let's see what our next question here. So your favorite sourcing style, you mentioned goodwill.com or shopgoodwill.com. Are there any other sites that you usually check out?
So anybody who watched my channel recently, I won a huge high bid auction lot. So if you guys watched the Nurse Flipper, I was on her show a couple times. She was trying to keep pushing me to get into high bid, but I'm like, high bid, that means I need to have time and they're not going to send it to my house. And like, you know, I think that's what stops a lot of people from reselling, is telling yourself excuses sometimes of like,
Absolutely.
I don't know enough, or I don't have
Yep.
the
And those are
shipping
all just
materials.
mental roadblocks.
And so I was like, okay, we're doing it. We're making time. I'm gonna get my mom to help me. And I ended up like spending $450 on the most enormous, glorious, like antique, vintage, beautiful lot, a collection of this lady's estate. And we went through it. I think it was 3 or 4 part series, and it was just so wonderful that it's like, okay, I'm hooked. I need to get more high bid auctions, because Shop Goodwill can potentially they can cherry pick more often. Um,
Hmm.
so you're not, they'll say, oh, this is the vintage lot, and then the vintage lots usually go up way high, and
Hmm.
then they'll put like a few pieces in a sterling lot or things like that. But this lot was like a lady's estate, so it really got me excited. So yeah, Shop Goodwill, definitely. um High bid, if you guys want to stretch yourself a little bit, it is easy once you start dabbling around in it.
Hmm.
The only thing is that there is a buyer's premium, so that could be like
Hmm.
15-20% of on top of what you're bidding.
Right.
But to me, it was totally worth it, because you know, I had like three, I think when I counted it all up, I had like over 300 pieces I was going to list. And if I paid, it's like $1.50, a piece. So,
Right.
or less. So like to me, I'm like, this is totally worth it. Especially some of the pieces could have gone over, a couple $100 by themselves.
Wow.
So yeah, so I really enjoyed high bid. And then you can also score some really great deals if you have a thrift store around you that does sell jewelry,
Hmm.
and you feel a little bit more comfortable with jewelry. I've scored a lot of really great and interesting pieces there.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna have to buy one of those buckets, and
Yes,
then you and I get on like a FaceTime and we
yes,
just go through. Or we'll even just do a live. Just hop on a live and let everybody else watch as I'm
yes,
sitting here holding up piece by
yes.
piece, and we can see what
That
this
would be
is. Because
fun. That would be so
that
much fun.
sounds
That would be
fun.
more fun than my mom, because my mom wants to do something like that. But like she
Well,
thinks
I'm glad
everything
it can
is
be
good.
more fun than your mom. That's exciting.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, let's do it.
That would be
No.
a blast. And we'll just do like a full mystery. I don't, obviously it's a mystery to me. So it's more like a game for you to figure out what I'm holding up. And yeah, we'll have to figure something out because
Yeah,
that does
my
sound fun.
mom tries helping me source, and like she'll hold up something that she thinks is good that I already know no. But she has to like try to explain to me why it is for a really long time, and I'm just like, no. Like, nope, that's
I
not
already
it,
said no.
mom.
Move on.
Yeah.
How funny. Do you ever, so you don't go to thrift stores or try looking for individual pieces very
Yes.
often?
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. The thrift stores, like if there is a thrift store, they miss things so often. Even antique stores individually
Yeah.
miss things so often. There was 2 occasions, I think, within this past few months where 2 antique stores did not see that it was 14 karat gold piece of jewelry, and I got it for a couple bucks. And so
Wow.
like and so there are a lot of pieces that are overlooked very regularly.
Was there like a code word for the 14 karat or it just says 14K on the piece of jewelry?
585, my Lore Italy, 14K, that kind of a thing. And there are certain places you should look, and certain telltale signs that you should look out for if you're suspecting something could be gold. Um, for instance, if you have a pair of earrings that are gold and the post is also gold, so the post is the thing that goes into your ear, that's also gold. Check that post for any marks. Run your fingernail along the post to see if there's any bumps that are catching it, because that could be writing. If it's a silver post on a gold earring, it's not going to be gold. But
Okay.
if it's a gold with a gold, it could potentially be a gold earring. And so you want to check out those little marks if you see them.
Yeah. I see videos all the time. So many different channels. There's not even one to name that they'll be at Savers or somewhere where they have a whole wall of what looks like costume jewelry, and they'll be like, "Nope, that one's gold," and they'll pull out a $200 14 karat gold piece of something. Like,
Mhm.
I want to do that. And I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I need to learn it. So, what would you say is your favorite thing about this reselling business?
The flexibility for sure. Absolutely 100%. So I got into reselling when I was a special education teacher, and I was telling you, Jen, that I was a special education teacher, and I thought, okay, how can I start getting away from being a special education teacher, staying at home? Automatically, I think a lot of moms think Etsy. So
Mm.
I have like a knitting background, and my mom's a seamstress, and I can kind of sew. So we made reversible bonnets for babies. So I had a new baby at home, also pregnant with baby number 2. I was like, we need to come up with something. So we like made so many Lilyworks reversible baby bonnets and put them on Etsy. And I got like 5 sales, like combined. And
Wow.
I even made
Hours
like
and hours of work.
handmade lily scented sachets that went with every order.
Oh my
And so
goodness.
I was like, because I like being a special education teacher, pregnant, and all that stuff, I was very stressed out. And so I was like, I have to figure out something. And so my husband and I went to a marriage retreat, and the speaker was there, and she's like, oh, you ladies go into Goodwill and find something cheap and flip it for profit on eBay. And some other women are like knocking on the table and amening and all this stuff. And I'm like, I have what? And so I did not listen to the rest of what they said. And the whole time I'm researching, like, this is a thing.
How to be a
People go
reseller.
and like I'm totally used to buying pre-owned and selling my stuff on different
Mm-hmm.
platforms already. So I already had my name on different things, but I was selling my stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, okay, we're gonna try this. So I told my husband, we're gonna take $100 and see where this goes. And so I ended
Mm-hmm.
up buying some baggy men's shorts, like, and like I picked up like 3 pairs of shoes and some other things because I wrote down in a notebook, okay, here's all the brands, writing them all down, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna memorize them all for clothes. And I ended up selling some stuff, and I was like, this is a thing. And so
Yep.
during my lunch breaks, I would check and I'd be like, I got a sale. And I'm showing all my teacher friends, like, look.
Oh, funny.
And they were not as excited. But then I started like noticing that the shoes were selling better for me. And I didn't have to take all these
Mm-hmm.
measurements and all this stuff. So I'm like, I'm really liking this, and like the
Mm-hmm.
storage space and everything. So, so yeah, then I ended up not being a teacher anymore, and like loving the flexibility and being able to work when it just like the whole thing. And you could just shop. You
Right?
get to
I
I
get to
get
go
to
to thrift stores and
yes.
make a living. Like,
And like,
this is
yes. And
the
so like the
life.
bins are not my favorite, but like now that I'm into jewelry, I can just be like, like if we're in Appleton, Wisconsin or something, I'm like, let's look up an antique store around here. And like I can do it for work, and it's great. So love
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah, I love that moment when I also realized like you can resell. Like I always thrifted. I always loved garage sales just for personal items. Like that was always a love. But then that eye opening of reselling it, like really? Like people do this? Like it's just, and that was only 3.5 years ago. It's funny how your eyes can open to this whole new world, and you still have the skeptics, the people that are still hating on you for selling things that the underprivileged should be buying. Yeah, they had a chance. They didn't buy it. Now I can buy it. But I think it's eye-opening how your mind shifts when you realize the potential of reselling.
Yeah. I definitely haven't gotten like that stigma, especially with jewelry, because it is more of
Yeah.
a collector's market, and I really love. And I think glass and vintage antiques and things like that, that is definitely also a
Get
collector's
it for
market.
random things. Like today someone was hating on me. An old video on Facebook got more views on it, so it kind of fed it up. And it was one where I picked up a baby monitor. It was one of those the foot ones. And I know they're
Yep.
expensive because
We had
I've
that.
looked at
We
it.
had that, the owlet.
Exactly. So the outlet, exactly. So I had picked up an outlet and it actually had like multiple socks, multiple sensors. I think I paid like 10 or $20 and I flipped it for over $100.
Yes.
And someone was giving hate on it, saying that somebody who couldn't afford one of those should have been able to buy it. Like,
Right.
it's not labeled like that. How would I have known to leave that sock for somebody who's
Right.
underprivileged? How ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's always the most random stuff that people want to get all butthurt about. But that's people. So speaking of butthurt, what is your biggest pet peeve in reselling?
Um,
You like that segue? Oh.
what's my biggest pet peeve in reselling? Returns. I just got a return right now. I'm just like looking at my phone and I was like, oh, another return. And it's like silly. It's like silly things, you know, like
Why
I
are
thought
they
that
returning jewelry? Because it
right,
wasn't
exactly.
like that seems like a
It's
very
like someone
low
just
return.
thought of like it's just a thing. So with shoes though, it happens a lot because
Yeah,
it
I
has
get
to
more
fit
shoes
right.
back if it doesn't fit.
And so I was like, oh, once I do start doing more jewelry, I won't get as many returns. But as you guys know, like give me some hearts down in the chat if you guys know this story. Start typing heart emojis. Where I had just recently had a return where the lady said that the necklace smelled like a corpse.
Necklace?
And it was a new tags necklace, and it was a metal necklace, and and it said reason for return,
Metal
and
smells like that's
she's like,
just a smell of
yes,
metal.
yes. So I was like, what does it smell like? And she or he, I'm not sure. She or he said it smelled like a corpse, and so I was like, okay, and yeah, so like yes, jewelry does get returned if someone, you know, I don't know. I don't want to
Buyer's remorse,
speculate.
I'm
I
sure, is
guess
the biggest
yes,
one.
or like they didn't look at like the measurements. So I've been
A
recently
necklace
like
or
my
something,
second
yeah.
picture usually is like it in my hand, even though I have big hands, but it's like some kind of reference there.
Right.
So yes.
Return for earrings for fit? That's a ridiculous one. Like, doesn't everyone have the same size hole?
Yeah.
Like, how does that not
I
fit?
mean, no, I can't. We shouldn't be saying that. But
We're
yeah, I
after
was just
9:30
watching
Eastern. Come on.
the pickle, no, the Funky Pickle. She's a great jewelry person to watch on eBay, and she was saying how she can't wear certain heavy earrings anymore because of
Right. Oh,
her
because it
ear
stretches. Yeah.
hole stretches. Yes. So clip-ons. I love clip-ons. You guys get into the clip-on club. They're great.
Oh, funny. And I see clip-ons all the time. So those resell?
They're
I
like
mean,
my
of course, there's
favorite,
a
honestly.
market.
They're not fast sellers, but they sure are pretty. They sure are statementy and beautiful and vintage and lovely.
Well, that's awesome. I've got to, yeah, start looking. I'm gonna get one of those buckets. Next time I see a bucket, watch, I don't see one for months now. Next time I see a bucket, I'm grabbing it. All right. What is your best or was your best and your worst buy or flip?
I can't think past this week. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
Recently, I was just saying that I picked up a 14 karat gold Mylor Italy necklace. I think it was $4 or $6 at the antique store, and it was a busy, high traffic, expensive I'm sorry, not thrift store, antique store. So like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people will tell me, "Oh, your antique stores are priced so well." The ones right off the highway are not. They are for collectors and because they
Mm-hmm.
get enough traffic. So I was in one of those and a booth happened to be on sale for Valentine's Day. And I saw this and I couldn't completely read the marks, but I did see that it had Mylor Italy and it turned out it was 14 karat gold. And I definitely sold it for some good money. I'm going to see if I can look it up. But that was probably my best, my lore, recently. Sold for $400.
Wow. And how much did you pay for it?
Like $4 or $6.
Oh
Yeah.
my
So
goodness.
there's that one. Okay, so it did go through the eBay authenticity program because it's so
Okay.
expensive. So then the buyer gets an authenticity guarantee. And yeah, then they gave me some positive feedback on that. And then my biggest sale altogether, and I do want to create a YouTube video on this, is when I first started reselling, I was married for a hot minute before this husband, not right now, I had my ex-husband, we were married for a hot minute. And I had a very nice, expensive engagement ring from Veragio, the brand Veragio. Really nice and fancy. And so I wanted to sell that, but when we went, they wanted to give me scrap value at jewelers, all of them. Like I was taking them, they're like, scrap value, we don't sell that brand here. And even the Veragio stores, they're like, no way,
You're
scrap.
calling your bluff. They're gonna offer you $20 and flip it for
Well, yeah,
2,000 or whatever.
right. But the highest we got was $600. And I was like, no. Like, I know what we just literally paid for like a few months ago. We know. And so I never sold a piece of jewelry. So I put it on eBay and Poshmark. And so that was my biggest flip. And I think I sold it for like 2,500. And there's a whole story with that that I want to make a YouTube video on, where I got scammed from like Africa. It was on its way to Africa,
Oh
didn't
my
get paid. The
goodness.
police had to get involved. Like, it was like a whole thing. And then I ended up getting it back, reselling it. And so it did sell through Poshmark, because I was like, I'm selling it through Poshmark because Poshmark at the time had the guarantee. They had the authenticity guarantee. So it was like, someone messaged me on eBay, and I did the thing where you're not supposed to do it, right? Moving it over to another platform. But I was like, this is too big of a sale. I can't do it. And so, yeah, that was my biggest sale. My worst buy or flip, I don't know. Probably like, I really don't know. Like, I have the kind of like model where like it will sit there until it sells because yeah, I have enough space. So yeah.
Right. Not desperate to sell it. What is your biggest obstacle you have to overcome as a reseller and a mom of four?
My biggest obstacle, I think I'm actually, that sounds terrible, but I think I'm actually juggling it pretty well. I think that like I want to put my family first, and I am putting my family first, and I don't even have to like remind myself like, you need to not do this work. So I think that's going really well. And like, I think the only thing is that I don't appreciate is having to like work and package and list when my husband gets home really late, like most of the nights this past month. And then being really tired in the morning. But that's about it. I think that reselling really, really, really works for stay-at-home moms, especially homeschooling moms that can discipline themselves and organize themselves. Like my husband, he has ADHD, where he clinically has ADHD. He could never ever do this. Like, he could not order his thoughts to prioritize what needs to get done. But yeah, it really works for our family in this way.
That's definitely the beauty of reselling, is that flexibility of, you can have a full-time job, and I know so many people that work full-time and then resell on the side. And then of course you got the other side where people are working full-time doing this, but lots and lots of juggling. Okay, let me hop over to the chat. Vintage Vagabond Vens does jewelry on Whatnot. So you do Whatnot as well, right?
I did for like 6 months, and then my 1-year-old had to have surgery. So we prepared for that, and it kind of like took me away from it. And so for me, it was a way to like connect with viewers more so than actually like making a decent profit. So I think that in order to find that balance of like time away from my family and also making profit, I'm going to keep building my following so that we can have more people in, and then where people can also get deals, but also people that are maybe buying jewelry for like themselves and
Mm-hmm.
pay a certain amount, because there's a lot of sellers on Whatnot. Like what I was doing is like you sell something for $2 to other resellers who can flip it on eBay, which is something I could already do myself. So I was
Right.
using it more as like a, hey, let's hang out, let's do this jewelry jar together, which I still want to do. I just have to
Mm-hmm.
find that time to be like, okay, I'm going to have 5 hours devoted to Whatnot, because I also need to package and all the things that go along with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've made it as far as creating the account. I
Yeah.
got approved. I even went to the 1 hour boot camp they make you go to. Like that was hilarious. The minute you sign up, it's like, okay, you can't sell until you come and watch this 1 hour webinar. Like, okay, fine, I'll come do that. So I
Really?
watched that.
Was it a live one? Was it a live webinar?
They were live.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It was just two guys. I guess they're the owners of this entire mega platform, or I don't know
Okay.
how they. Wow, I don't know who they were, but big dogs at whatnot. But just to tell you the rules of it and what not to do and all that. But I'm intimidated. It's. I think I like you said, you have to just commit that time. If I said, okay, 3 hours, I'm just gonna focus because you have to. I guess you don't have to, but you want to create that itinerary to say the type of stuff you're putting on, already load pictures so people can pre-shop. So you're kind of loading a whole nother version of eBay in a sense to get ready for that live show. So it sounds fun. You definitely need to build that audience because what good is an auction if one person shows up or two people? So I need to learn how to get people to it. And my brain wants to already be further ahead to figure out how to get the people before I create the show. But I need to do it the other way. I need to create the
Well,
show and the people will
there
come.
have been a handful of people that have like built a following through Whatnot. And
Mm-hmm.
those have been people that are extremely dedicated. And because I'm in the jewelry niche, I've watched those kind of people. And those are people that are dedicated to Whatnot and like do things like a lot of giveaways and fun things and are fast and do handfuls of jewelry
There's
grabs. And
such
it's just
a
like,
range. Like just watching that platform, like you do see people that it looks like a QVC episode. Like, how
yeah.
did they get to that level?
So,
And
so
then
they
you've got your
do
amateurs.
they do have a following, and then there's people like the Nurse Flipper who already have the following on YouTube, can go
Right.
in and just like pump through sterling silver rings like nobody's business and be really successful. I think she's
Mm-hmm.
on every night on Whatnot except for one night. Like she's on it because
Wow.
that's her main selling platform right now. And
And she's not just jewelry, right? Or did she
right now she
transition to
is.
just,
She is right
yeah.
now. Well, no, she's doing some of her like handmade acrylic stuff that she's making, resin stuff as
Okay.
well. And yeah, uh
Any
I
tips for whatnot? Now
for
that you're kind of
Whatnot,
the pro, more pro
um
than me.
so how I started my gaining a little bit of a following is by being in um other chats that were my niche.
Hmm.
Because what people will do is they'll say, link your show down below or subscribe to everybody in the chat, or that's everybody that's left a comment, that kind of a thing. And you get to
Hmm.
know other people that way. I'm sure other people have said the same thing that I have. I've also, I, so I was recording one day in Goodwill, and there was this other girl and she had her phone up and she's talking to herself. And I was like, are you a YouTuber too? And she's like, no, I actually sell on Whatnot. And I was like, you do? And this was before I sold on Whatnot. And I was just ready to start selling on Whatnot. And she is the Fantastic Mermaid on Whatnot. And she's a pretty big seller. But she was
Ooh.
like, yes, I do this full time. This is my full time income. So like her thing is constant sourcing, constant outflow, inflow, outflow. And like it's like constant. And so I was
Hmm.
asking her all these questions, and she is just happy, bubbly giveaways. And she has people in her chat donating giveaways to other people in the chat. So like people, so she doesn't even have to have giveaways because her followers are like, I have all these things that you can give away. So this giveaway is
Oh
on
my
me.
goodness.
And so like if I follow her and I'm in her chat, she'll shout me out and she'll say, oh, because she knows me. So it's like getting to
Mm-hmm.
know the other whatnot sellers. And it's just a whole different feel and a whole different community there
Mm-hmm.
than I'm kind of really digging the YouTube community. I'm much more slower paced, I think. Like I really, and
Yeah.
then also I'm really enjoying the Facebook group and actually seeing people that comment on my videos and being able to communicate with like that way.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoying that. Yeah, whatnot can definitely be a lot more fast paced.
It is. I think that's what I like, the community aspect. I like the networking aspect. And that's what I love about YouTube, is going to these other live shows and interacting with people in the comments and meeting other resellers that way. So I can see the perk of that. But I think hosting is a whole different ballgame. Being in the chat and having fun is one thing, but lots to learn. So much to learn. All right. What is your favorite reseller tip that you wish everyone knew?
My favorite reseller tip that I wish everyone knew. I think recently I've been really getting into these bins, and I guess it could be specific to jewelry, but also I guess you can think of it in other ways. So I have 3 different bins, and I have my yes, this makes me excited. I'm going to list it. I know I'm going to list it. I know it's going to bring me profit. I have my, okay, I might have to test this. I'm going to research it later. I don't know if it's valuable. Like this is going to take me give me like more time. It's going to take me more time. And then this is my craft lot. This is my, I'm not going to list it ever. It came in an auction or whatever. I'm not going to list it. So what motivates me, I think a lot of people just get hung up on the motivate, is I just pick up stuff that's small, easy to list, front and back type of thing from my yes pile. Like once you get going, you get going. And then when you're in a good mood, you have some good tea, good coffee, whatever. This right here is my maybe bin. And sometimes I'll like list 4 things of my yes, or take pictures 4 things of my yes. And then I'm like going through here and I'm like, oh, why did I put this in my maybe? I totally love that. And like, then I'll want to list it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I've been really suggesting that to people when they get really hung up on, I have so much jewelry, or I have this huge pile.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't have a lot of piles because I'm like, okay, we're gonna make this into a system here.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see jewelry that happening quick, because with hard goods, like they call it your death pile. And I've never really kept a big death pile. There's maybe like 10 things in that pile of just things to list. But they're so big that as it grows, just by adding 5 things to that pile, I get that sense of overwhelm and need to get through it. With jewelry, you can end up with hundreds in one small bin and not realize how much you have. So yeah,
Yes.
definitely segregating and making those piles of priority, that can be for any niche. I think prioritizing whether it's clothing or hard goods, it's
Oh,
interesting how
Rebel's
once you
here.
home with it, how your
I see
feelings change
Erin.
about that item. Welcome, Rebel. Good to have you. Late as usual. No such thing. You can always go back and watch the beginning
Yes,
later.
it was amazing before you came. You missed the whole thing.
Missed the whole thing. Absolutely. So, how do you see your business growing in the future? How do you want to expand on this whole thing?
So I guess this past year I've been really focusing on growing my YouTube. And through that, I have learned, because before I was doing like I guess I was doing mostly shoes and then some jewelry boxes. And then through
Mm-hmm.
YouTube and everyone asking me questions, nobody's asking me questions about shoes. No, except, okay, how do I clean the toes of these leather shoes? And, I get those same questions, or how do you store your shoes, or things like that. Which I can answer if anybody wants to know. I can answer that real quick for you guys. But I started getting everyone interested in jewelry. And so because I was interested in jewelry, everyone was like, I love your energy about jewelry and it makes me want to watch it. And then I was like, you know what? this is naturally starting to become a jewelry thing. And I have not listed shoes except for one pair of the most outrageous shoes you've ever seen. They're in my last video in your life. They're like, seriously, they're the most outrageous. They have skunks on them, and I think they're from the 1960s, like actual 3D skunks.
I gotta show you these pumps I just sold today. Now these are like a very inappropriate name, but they are the craziest looking boots. Or not boots, heels, pumps. I'm gonna see if this competes. All right. I don't even know if this is gonna show up on the screen, but these just caught my eye because of how, we'll see if it shows up on here. There you go. They have
The lace up
skulls
back.
and then the lace up back. Like here's the
I
back
think
of
I
them.
got you beat, honestly. I need to go get them.
Like these were some sexy shoes. Now I'm intrigued. Let's see what these shoes look like.
Okay.
If you guys have any other questions for Rachel or for myself, be sure to put those in the comments because we are here to answer. What in
these
the
are from the
holy heck?
1960s. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They are mules.
Okay, those are trippy.
These are called Animal Clackers House of Zog. And they are sawdust.
Those too.
Sawdust stuffed velveteen skunks on these like slipper mules.
Wow.
These are
So what did you list those for?
$600.
No way.
Yes, I did.
For the most hideous shoes.
These are not hideous. I'm gonna die. These are so adorable.
The most eclectic shoes.
Yes,
I don't know.
Exactly. So like this is totally like
they're a statement.
I love. I mean, I wouldn't wear them. Actually, I am a little bit like I like statement pieces, but like someone is going to love this for their collection. So I price it at collector's price with best offer. Because someone is going to be like, I've never seen it. You can research this all you want. It is not, they're not out there. They're just not. So yeah.
It's a brand. Like there's more than one of these that were made, or this is handmade by one person for one person.
It has a sticker. So it says House of Zog Animal Clackers. So this shoe is called Animal Clackers. If you
so there's got to be more animals, not just
there has
skunks.
to be somewhere in someone's estate in Arizona.
Yes, I just gotta wait for their special day.
So yeah, I totally priced it at an outrageous price, but that's what I like about vintage and collector's pieces is you're just like, okay,
it just takes one. It just takes one.
I mean, so how did I come up with that price, right? There's other really eclectic shoes out there that are from different eras that are also priced at like $1,000, $1,200. And these are for people's collection. Like they're not to wear. So
exactly.
Yes, like
kind of looking down.
You,
so when you're walking,
like a little
you wouldn't even know it. Yeah. That's crazy. Those shoes give a Disney vibe. They kind of do. They kind of do.
They didn't even have a size in them, but I'm like, it doesn't even matter. Like, it does not even matter.
It's just for show. Yep. That is the craziest. How funny. All right, you guys. If you don't already subscribe to Rachel's channel, make sure to head over to her channel. I'm going to butcher your last name. Is it Rayesky?
That was my maiden name. Yes, it is. You said it right. Yes.
Okay.
Good job. My last name right now is Dement, but yeah, it's Rachel Rayesky 1, right? On YouTube?
Yes.
Or Lilyworks Reseller.
Yes, it happens to be behind this other stuff there. Okay. So yes, definitely go over, follow her channel. I don't know how to put it into the comments, so it's clickable. So do a search just for Lilyworks. She'll definitely show up. I want to thank you so much for coming on here and giving us all these wonderful jewelry tips. Yes. I learned a ton. And now I'm going to beeline for those jewelry bins. I'll start with one, just so I don't get overwhelmed, and just piece it out.
Seriously. So yeah, I don't know if I said this to you guys, but if you guys are looking to start jewelry at all, get yourself a jewelry jar. I got one in my last 2 videos that I went through. I
Mm-hmm.
got it for $45 at an antique store. You want to look for a couple pieces that look like they're intact that could bring you some money. And then if
Okay.
you go through it and you're like, jewelry's not for me, I feel overwhelmed, this is not what I want, you can resell it for like $65 on eBay without the jar, and you can just start fresh, like, honestly, because
Just flip the
people
whole lot,
do.
buy a lot to
Right,
sell it
and
as a lot.
don't mark it as craft lot, because I mean it was a jewelry jar, so you can sell it like jewelry jar without the jar.
Mm-hmm.
And people would want to buy that way, that are resellers, or you can title it reseller lot. But and then watch a lot of YouTube videos in regards to what sold, or
Yeah.
yeah, the unjarring type things, because you're going to learn from them, and then you're going to start feeling these stones, and then you're going to say,
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that from Rachel's channel or
Yeah.
whomever, and she called it snowflake obsidian or something like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I need to do just for my brain to gather is like just learn one or two things to watch for. Look for the brooches and look for the gold. And then everything else I'll learn as I go. It's the same thing with hard goods and clothing. Pick your certain brands and get to know those before before diving into more because yeah, it can be a lot. So that's how I kind of plan to tackle it. So thank you
All
again,
right,
Rachel. I
awesome.
appreciate it. Thank you, everybody from Rachel's channel, for coming over.
Mhm.
Sylvia, thank you so much for subscribing. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. And
Yay.
thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.